we are recording now. So let's just be aware of that. And I have for you a question. And it involves, again, a glass of water, okay? And a ice cube. I have an ice cube right here. And I'm going to put that ice cube into the water. There we go. And you can kind of see, I'm going to bring it close there, that barely any of it sticks above the edge of the water, and most of the ice is underneath the surface of the water. You guys understand that? That makes sense so far? You may answer yes or no. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, this Zoom thing is working out great.
Yes.
This is class
Yes.
participation. This is awesome. Okay, so here's the question I have for you. Now, if we mark on here the level of the water right now, I'm going to do that with a pen. Okay, kind of a little bit off screen. I'm going to lift that up now. So there. Oh, shoot. Okay. So I'm going to hold it horizontal. So we're holding this horizontal right now. You see that's the level of the water, and a little bit of the ice cube sticks above the water right now. Okay, you guys understand that so far?
Yes.
Yay. And we can make a kind of a little drawing of that situation. Drawings are fun. You guys like making drawings? I like making drawings. Okay, so we have this. We have our ice cube right there. Ice, and here is water. And Mr. Blessman, isn't ice also water? Yeah, shut up, you're very smart. So ice is frozen water, and water is just liquid water. We call liquid water just water. And here's the question I have for you. If I wait, well, here's the first question. That should be really easy. If I let this sit on my desk here next to my computer for a long enough time, what will happen to the ice?
It will melt.
Obviously, it'll melt. That seems pretty straightforward. But now comes the interesting part, I think. So later on, so we've got the level of water here. And the question I have for you is this. When ice is melted, is the level higher, lower, or the same? So the question I have for you is, if I wait long enough, and actually it's not very long here, the ice is pretty quickly melting here. So if I wait long enough for this ice cube to melt, okay, will at that point, once the ice cube is completely melted into water, will the level of the water have gone up just a little bit? Will the level of water have gone down just a little bit? Or will the level of the water be the same once the ice cube is melted?
I think it could be the same, since while you have the ice in it, it's already, the water rises a little, and then when it melts, it's more water. So both ways, it would kind of rise a little.
Okay.
I think it might be the either the same or the tiniest bit less.
Okay.
Because when something freezes, it expands a bit, and
Okay.
so maybe when it unfreezes, it'll decrease a little bit. So that would maybe make it the same or a little bit less or something.
Okay.
I think it could also be that it goes up a little bit because
Okay.
when the ice cube is in the water, and not all of it is underwater.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
It's gonna go up a little.
I love how we're getting like suggestions for all three answers. That's cool. Other
Yeah.
people want to participate?
I don't really think it would go up, because I think it would take up less space once the water's melted, because I feel like if it's the big, I don't know, I just have a feeling it would be a little bigger with the ice cube inside.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can also understand that.
Okay.
Doesn't water expand when it freezes?
When water freezes, it expands. This is true. So ice is less dense than water. Okay. So ice is less dense than water is true. I think it's like 900 kilos per cubic meter or something like that, and water's 1,000 kilos per cubic meter. So yes, so ice expands when it freezes. So I mean, when water freezes, it becomes larger. And you've seen that when you've made ice cubes, when you put the ice cube tray in the freezer, the water kind of is at a certain level, and then afterwards it like bubbles up, and they kind of almost stick out of the little containers in which they are. If you had it all the way full, then the ice cube actually are a little taller than the actual limit of how tall you could have poured the water in the tray. And also really bad is if you put like I don't know if this ever happened to you, if you put a can of soda or a bottle of a drink in the freezer because you're like, I'm gonna freeze this really fast because I want a cool drink, and then you forget about it, and then it explodes in the ice box, and then your parents yell at you. That ever happen to anybody?
Well, that happened to my dad once. He had a beer in the freezer and then it exploded.
That's not
Nope.
good. Did you yell at him afterwards?
That's
My
that's
mom.
like
Oh, your
freezing.
mom yelled at him. Okay, good. It's important to yell at people when they do stupid crap. That's good. That really helps them modify their behavior next time. I'm joking. Just, just kidding. So, okay. Does anybody else want to speak to it? Who's got an idea? No? Nobody? Is that it? So should we call on people? People always love to be called on, right? Let me see who has not spoken. Has Willy said something about this? Willy, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. So you haven't said anything. Do you have an opinion which way it goes?
Yeah, the water will rise.
Okay.
That's true, because ice is also water, and when it melts, then the water will get more.
Okay. Okay. Let's see if we can ask somebody else here, and trying to remember who said something. Did Charlotte say something already? Yes? No? No.
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 I also didn't say anything.
All right. Okay. Is that
No,
Noelle?
you
Do
didn't.
you want to speak first, and then we'll give Charlotte another second to freak out, and then we can ask her.
No, I already talked.
Oh, you
But-
did talk already. Okay, Charlotte, what's your opinion, Charlotte?
I think she maybe doesn't have a mic.
Oh, she doesn't have a mic. Okay.
Maybe.
She does have a mic. I think she does have a mic.
If there's a mic symbol there, even if she's muted
Yeah.
right now, but she definitely has a mic.
Oh,
She
if there's a
doesn't.
mic symbol, that means she does have a mic. Okay.
Yeah, for example, Jan doesn't even have a camera symbol, so Jan
Okay,
doesn't.
so that means he's working on a computer that doesn't have a camera.
Yeah.
But I think he doesn't have whatever. I have no idea.
Okay. All right. Okay. Maybe. Okay. Let's see. Maybe one more person. Did Tees talk already?
No.
No, Tees. I know you're all excited to get called on. What do you think? Is it going to go up, down, or the same? What do you think?
I think it is going to go up because when the ice floats a little bit above the water, but maybe it's enough that when it melts that it's all together, and then I think it's more.
Okay. Cool. So I'm not going to tell you the answer right now, but I'm going to make you think about one other thing. Okay. And maybe that'll help you or hurt you in thinking about this. You guys have heard of global warming? Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard about like the
course.
ocean levels rising?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, ocean levels rising. Why have they suggested that ocean levels might rise due to global warming?
Because the ice melts.
The ice melts. And now
Yeah,
the ice
that's-
is of course a question what ice they're referring to. So they
The
say there's
polar
gonna,
ice,
what's that?
like the ice on the North Pole.
The north,
Antarctica.
like in the Arctic, right?
Yeah,
the Arctic and
yeah,
Antarctic
Arctic region.
ice will melt and then make the water level rise.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've heard that's true, and that is true. If all the ice on Earth were to melt, then the ocean levels would rise. Okay, and they're trying to figure out exactly how long it's going to take and how much it's going to melt and all that stuff. So there's got to be some connection here, maybe. Now, what I have here for you, though, is a little bit of a question about the ice that's going to melt. When global warming melts the ice, where is that ice located? You guys, where's most the ice located that we have?
Above
the polar
water.
regions.
The polar regions. Okay, let's talk about the North Pole first. So we have in the Arctic, as they call it, there's a lot of ice, right? Where's that ice located?
On land, or on land.
Is it on land or is it on, which one is it? Is it land?
On
sea,
ice.
What's that?
And water.
On water?
Water, I guess.
Both.
Okay, we're not sure both? Okay, so there's a good question about that. So there's ice in the northern region, and what place in the north is, if you talk about a land mass, where's most of that ice located?
Greenland.
Greenland, that's right, Greenland. And talk to me about the ice on Greenland. Maybe you guys know this. Is the ice on Greenland like thick or not thick? Like, what are we talking about? Like a meter, a kilometer? Okay, I'm not
Maybe.
do you know?
No, not really. No.
You don't know? It's really thick on
Uh,
Greenland. It's really, really thick. It's like
Isn't it
it's like
isn't it like a
kilometers
kilometer?
thick. I
Well,
think who's been to the Alps to like see a glacier? Have you guys seen glaciers? Somebody's seen
Yeah.
a glacier.
I have. I've
And
seen
those are
photos.
like
I've
dozens of meters deep, right? And they could be even deeper. And actually in Greenland, if you look at those glaciers, they're really, really thick. Some of them are like over a kilometer thick. And tell me about ice on water. When you have ice on water,
thinner.
it's pretty thin, right? Because
Yeah.
water actually doesn't cool down as much, actually. Land masses tend to get very, very cold. So towards the center of a big land mass, like in North America, for example, if you look at the central states like Minnesota, for example, South Dakota, those get really cold in the winter because on land, there's no water to make the season changes more gentle. So if you're near water, climate tends to be a little milder. So like, for example, in Europe, we tend to have pretty mild winters and mild summers because we have that water from the North Atlantic near us that actually in the North Sea and the Baltic that makes the weather change less. So on land, we get large amounts, very, very thick ice, okay? So that would be, for example, in Greenland, okay? And how about the southern half? Where's the ice there?
Mm,
The Antarctic.
The Antarctic, exactly. The Antarctic also has a lot of ice. And is most of that ice on water or most of that ice on land?
on water. Right.
Are you guessing or knowing?
Well, I think like in the north it's more land and in the south it's more water.
Okay. Do we have a continent around the South Pole?
No,
Yeah.
it's only ice, I think.
What's that? Do we have a continent down there?
Yes.
We do. What's it called?
Antarctica.
Antarctica. And is like the South Pole right in the middle of it? Kind of. Is the South Pole on land?
I don't know.
Yes.
Yes, the South Pole is on land. The North Pole is not on land. Actually, the North Pole has been kind of free of ice for a while now. And we think the Northern Pole, the North Pole, the sea ice is actually pretty much gone. There's only land ice in Greenland, which is not where the North Pole is. But on the South Pole, there's still ice. And there's the same thing where we have very, very thick ice. Okay? So, couple things. Let's think about land ice first. This is kind of a different situation, right? Because this is what we have here, but land ice is kind of like this. Imagine we have like a block of ice kind of on a little ledge there. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Now, if this
Yeah.
ice
Yeah.
melts, yeah? This ice up here melts, land ice. If the land ice melts, what will happen to the level of the water? Will it go up or down or the same?
It'll probably go
For
up.
sure, right?
Will
Because
rise.
we're adding water. So when the land ice melts, the water level rises. For sure. No doubt about it. That makes sense. So that's important for us because when we're thinking about specifically Greenland and Antarctica, okay, there's a lot of ice on Greenland and Antarctica. And when that ice melts, we're going to get the water levels rising quite a bit. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay, good. And now to come to the ice here that's in the water. Now, the North Pole has already melted pretty much. Have our water levels gone up a lot because of that?
A little
Or-
maybe.
A little, but this whole like water level rising is something that they're predicting for the future, right? Mostly, we haven't had much of it. Like it's not like New York is already underwater. New
Like in
York might be
geostorm.
threatened in the future, but right now it's still all good. Okay, is that true? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of arm wave my little bit through the answer here, and hopefully we'll understand that. Okay, so let's think about this ice cube, and let's think about how much water this ice cube will become. And here's the trick. The ice cube, when it melts, volume-wise, will the water have the same volume as the ice, or less, or more? You guys understand the question?
Yes.
Okay, so when an ice cube melts, what would I have to write in between here? Is it smaller, equal, or greater? The volume of water that comes out of this ice cube, will it be smaller than the volume of the ice cube? Will it be equal to the volume of the ice cube? Or will it be greater than the volume of the ice cube? And answering that question will allow us to answer this question in just a second. So what's the correct answer for that? You guys use these
Not
signs,
sure.
right? For math, smaller, equal, bigger. You've used this before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm,
You guys thinking?
yeah.
Good. I like when you think. Okay, enough thinking. Somebody say something. Do you want me to call on somebody? How about Finn?
I'm not sure.
Okay, you're not sure? Okay, good. Noel?
I'm also not sure. I don't
Also not sure.
really know.
Savoy, you got an opinion?
Well, I think it, well, if we're talking about that exact picture, then I think the water level will rise a little bit up. Since you
Okay,
can
hang on a
see-
second. So I'm not asking, just to clarify the question. So I'm asking, if you look at this ice cube, it has a certain volume, right? If I now made a drawing of the volume of the water, would the volume of the water that comes from this be smaller, same, or bigger than the volume of that ice cube? You
Wouldn't it
understand
be
the
the
question?
same?
I don't really know.
Okay, we're going to do a side note because this is really important, so we got to be able to understand this. Okay, so let's come back and imagine we have a glass of water. Okay, full glass of water, and we put that in the freezer. In freezer. Okay, wait. And now we're going to look at that glass of water later when the water has turned into ice. What will we see? So we're looking over here. What has happened to the level of the water inside the glass when we put it in the freezer and it's turned into ice, has the water level stayed the same, gone down, or gone up? So the whole thing is frozen. You guys understand?
Gone up.
It's gone up, right? You've seen this before. The volume has increased because ice is less dense than water. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to wait. We're going to put this on our counter in our kitchen. And again, we're going to wait till later. And we're going to wait till later to see what happens when this thing melts again. Okay, when we wait for the ice glass to melt, the whole block of ice melts, what happens to the level?
Goes down.
Goes down, exactly. So now we have this like higher level. This was how much ice we had, right? And this thing comes back to the level that we had at the start. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the same mass, the same amount of ice, when it melts, it turns into a smaller volume of water. When ice melts, it turns into a smaller volume of water. Make sense? So let's come back to our picture up here. We said, okay, let's think about that ice cube. Our ice cube is melting, okay? And the question was, will the volume of water that the ice cube will melt into be smaller, equal to, or greater than the volume of ice that we had? It'll be smaller, exactly. So we can replace this now with a smaller sign. And this is a really important clue because a lot of your answers earlier on depended on when this ice melts, because it had more volume, it'll add some water and therefore the water level will go up. That was a kind of a rough draft of some of your answers. But now that we know that when this ice cube melts, it turns into less water volume-wise, okay? It could be, and it actually is true, that when this ice turns into water, it turns into just this amount of water, and therefore the water level will stay the same because the ice cube will turn into just the right amount of water to fill just exactly that kind of area there, and the water level will stay the same. It was a little arm wavy for the explanation, but can you kind of imagine that that makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's exactly correct. So when we think about global warming, what matters for ocean levels rising is just the level of the land ice melting. The sea ice melting actually does not affect ocean levels, okay? Because the sea ice, when it melts, fills the same amount of volume when it's water, in terms of not making the level of the ocean go up or down. But of course, when the ice on Greenland or Antarctica melts and goes into the ocean levels rise. Okay? So I'm going to stop recording at this point. And
Cat hat.
What's that?
Cat hat.
Oh, cat hat.
Cat
Okay,
hat.
hang on. Okay, anhalten, beenden.